Welcome to the PharmaSource podcast. In this episode, I speak to Alan Runacus, UK Sales Manager for World Courier. World Courier is a leader in personalised supply chains. Alan explains how they've recently rolled out GPS-enabled smart packaging for safe, trackable warehousing and transportation of biopharmaceuticals, and how the large amount of data this generates is helping to drive the sustainability agenda. I hope you enjoy the episode.
I'm Alan Runacus. I'm the UK Sales Manager for World Courier. I've been with the organisation for 7 years now, but been in supply chain and logistics for almost 30 years in various guises and roles.
And not always within pharma?
Not always within pharma. No, used to work for an integrator for about 22 years of that. Latterly, it was within the pharma strategic pillar, but there was technology, a little bit of industrial at one point, but a lot of it was involved in, whilst with the integrator, mainly non-network traffic. So it sort of fitted into what we do from a pharma perspective, because you're not just moving a box through the big machine type scenario and the wheels of motion, so to speak. It's a little bit more specialist. So sea freight, air freight, road freight, but using different means and guises as you go along.
Let's talk about World Courier then. You cover a wide range of logistics, warehousing, transportation services. So I'm interested to dig in more into that, into the types of services you offer, and also what it means to be part of the wider Cencora group.
Okay.
Formerly AmerisourceBergen, of course. That rebrand's only happened recently, hasn't it?
Yes. So that happened in October. So we're now Cencora World Courier, which, as you mentioned, covers depots, transportation, and then different services that are available in that from a 3PL or a clinical storage perspective. And then for the wider Cencora organization, we're obviously then covered off in the complete, I suppose, pharmaceutical supply chain in relation to pharmacy services, consultancy services, things like order to cash and commercial product launches. So I suppose it gives us, from a transportation perspective as World Courier, we cover the whole supply chain from preclinical universities right the way through to commercial product, and then can store materials within that sort of, I suppose, bandwidth, predominantly clinical and commercial, because when you're at preclinical stage, it's not really required. You might just be shipping samples. And then the whole other piece that goes around that in relation to designing supply chains, looking at regulations and what might be required to do a commercial launch. So, for example, in America, you need to have a license in each of the 52 states. As part of our depot solution and storage, we can provide services that take on the product license, and we have a license in all of the states in the US, and then we can store and then distribute under our agreements that we have in place. Okay, so that makes it a lot easier then for customers. Particularly for European organizations trying to launch into the US or outside of the companies, small biotechs, for example, who might not have the scope or scalability to be able to, look at putting stuff in place or applying for all of those individual licenses. We can take that on board, store it, distribute it to the pharmacies, and offer services like order to cash and reimbursement strategies. I'd be interested to know how important biopharmaceuticals and newer cutting-edge medicines like cell and gene therapies to your business. What kind of shifts are you having to make to your network to accommodate these new therapies? We've been involved in new therapies since inception. So direct to patient, for example, or decentralized trials, as they're now called, or personalized supply chain. We've actually been doing direct to or direct from patient deliveries for about 20 years, believe it or not, but now that it's been rebranded. But there are a lot of nuances around that with data, GDPR, and those elements, and the service has evolved somewhat. So we've now got dedicated teams and coordinators globally for the decentralized or personalized supply chain is what we've grouped everything under. So your cell and gene therapies, technically, it can be vein to vein, or allogeneic therapies where you have a donor, but it still has a lot of chain of custody, and it's technically personalized to you. So we've branched them under personalized supply chain, which covers direct to patient, and then cell and gene therapies. We've our network has had to gear up for the evolving market. So we've got more cryogenic stations around the globe now. So for topping up or to keeping on top of liquid nitrogen shippers, which is the mode of choice for cell and gene therapies, particularly when you're going from patient to patient. I think it's made everybody look at it and then look at different types of packaging solutions that are available and out there in order to deliver safety and integrity of product, because it's going back to a patient. What you don't want to do is give somebody the wrong therapy when it's not their blood. So there's a lot of IT around that. There are companies that we integrate with that specifically provide a link in between the therapy developers and then our transport management system, so that they can then have chain of custody of the entire product.
Because you must be generating a huge amount of data from all of this. It is true, it said it's big data. Is that being made available to your customers? How do they get access to that data?
Yeah, so as an organization, we are the first this year to introduce GPS in all of our multi-use packaging systems. So anything that's within the network, it's not a single-use box. We automatically include a GPS in that, and clients can click into our portal, our online portal, and then see where the parcel is. When you're looking at chain of custody, which is most important to the clients, is making sure products or samples are getting to where they need to be at the correct time with the correct temperature from a quality perspective. But as well as the quality, it then also leads into, clients who may have used single-use boxes in the past, particularly with the push on sustainability and CO2 emissions. If they're using a reusable box, they can also see where it is. The temperature and GPS monitors are also reusable. So that data is available live, and then it all feeds into sustainability and all green credentials.
CPHI is coming up very soon.
It is.
What services are you looking forward to discussing with customers there?
Anything in relation to their supply chain, really. I suppose the old adage is customers don't know what they don't know. So they might not know about all of the services which we're offering. Again, what we mentioned at the beginning in relation to the whole Cencora piece. So it'll be trying to get some of our branding back out there. Although the World Courier name is staying, we obviously need to let everybody know that we're now Cencora, and there's a lot more services available that we can tie into, not just the transportation that people might have seen us with in the past. We'll be demonstrating packaging solutions that we have, and then obviously the GPS will be a big talking point for us.
Are there any other trends which you're anticipating for 2024, 2025?
We've mentioned data, so visibility, traceability, and location intelligence, because that feeds into, I suppose, the green circular supply chain, so to speak. And there's a big push on, people trying to be carbon negative or carbon neutral by a particular time. Cencora included in that. So we've got a lot of data in our organization, if you bear in mind how many flights we're doing globally and stuff like that. And I think what we can do with that data will help us evolve as an organization, but what we can also then provide clients with that data that ties into their shipments and what they're doing with us. We've recently partnered with Swissair to utilize different fuel types in their airlines, which will help us achieve that sort of thing. But if you bear in mind that 70% of CO2 emissions are normally attributable to the manufacturing process, it's a very small percentage to the logistics, but everybody seems to focus on the logistics as opposed to the manufacturing. And that's because we're utilizing planes, trucks, whatever means. But I think we can do things and do things better. So we will be investing in the fleet and then partnerships with airlines and organisations that are going to be able to benefit us from a CO2 emission perspective.
Thank you to Alan. And you can meet the World Courier team at CPHI Barcelona in meeting room B37 and check out their website, worldcourier.com. Finally, we're excited to tell you about PartnerMatch, which is a brand new service from us at PharmaSource. PartnerMatch is a new online meeting platform designed to be the most targeted, efficient, and sustainable way to connect with pre-approved partners in key areas such as APIs, packaging, supply chain, contract manufacturing, and CROs. We believe that by creating better, faster matches, PartnerMatch can directly contribute to accelerating the rollout of groundbreaking therapies. Get involved by heading to pharmasource.global/partnermatch. Thank you for listening.